Hi everyone, welcome back and thanks for joining another soap video. This week, pretty much everything we're using is coming from Nurture Soap, so if you do like any of the products, I'm going to put a link down in the description. It does help my channel, and I do get credit for those, so if you like anything, you'll probably find it on their website. Some of their stuff like the glitters might be discontinued or called something else. But anyway, the star of the show today is going to be this glow-in-the-dark mica that I got from Nurture Soap. I've been wanting to try it for a really long time, and it is something that I'm super excited about. Also, the Melt and Pour soap is from Nurture Soap, so we'll see how that works too. It's the first time I've used it. I go ahead right when we start and spritz everything down with rubbing alcohol. We're going to do like a galaxy theme, glow-in-the-dark soap today. I'm going to use my moon-shaped mold and kind of get it the right size, and then we are going to put that in the center of the soap, and then I'm going to make some star embeds to go along with it. So you can just kind of watch along and see how I do the process, and I'm going to start getting into it. So you don't need to use a rubber band with the soap mold. I've seen a lot of other soapers do that to keep their mold together. This is the first time I used it. I didn't have any issues. What I was trying to do here though is kind of measure or let myself know how much soap to put in there, because I didn't know how much this filled. Again, I bought this mold on Amazon. It didn't have very much information with it, and it's the first time I'm using it. So I ended up marking it off, but it ended up not mattering because I melted down way too much soap before we got started. So I do want to say the one thing I noticed about the Melt and Pour soap from Nurture Soap, I also don't want to knock it because I haven't finished the video yet. I'm waiting for the soap to fully set up and dry, but it is very crumbly no matter how I cut it. My knife is very sharp. I don't know if that's a normal consistency for them, but I ordered this soap about a month ago and I just haven't got into it yet. The thing I will say about it though, it did seem like the melting points, like you had to get the soap much hotter than like wholesale supplies is what I'm used to using. Not to say that it's any better or any worse. I was still able to use it and things worked out really nicely, so I'll say that. So once the soap base was actually melted down, I went ahead and I took just a tiny bit and put it into the white melt and pour that we use. This is going to be for the moon again. So I went ahead and I put that in there. I let it kind of sit a little bit before I mixed it because I realized that I actually forgot to cut down some of the clear melt and pour for the Blue Enigma mica powder. Now, if you're using the Blue Enigma mica powder, I really love it. It gives some really cool designs, but you really can only use it in clear melt and pour. It doesn't work in cold process soap or hot process soap. I haven't used it, but I could just tell the way that it performs that it's not going to be something that's visible if you use it in those soaps, unless you're using it as like a decoration at the end. But again, the clear melt and pour kind of had the same issue where it was very crumbly when I cut it down. And as you could see, the white melt and pour soap, again, I like it, but the soap starts getting like a hard, thick layer on the top, which is nice if you're wanting to do a lot of designs or have like a layered soap. I would definitely recommend the soap from Nurture Soap because I think it is the right type of soap that you need to get some of those designs. I don't have my temp gun with me. I can't find it for some reason. I have no idea where it went, but I will tell you that the soap is almost scorching hot. A couple times I think I overcooked it, and my home is about 66 degrees because I don't have the heat on right now and it's a little bit chilly out today. I will say that it was a little bit hard to pour the melt and pour into this column soap mold. I kind of just like to leave it in a container and then prop it up against the wall so it doesn't spill out. Again, the container is just in case the soap mold leaked. I wasn't really sure how it would perform since I've just heard other people saying that they've had issues with those type of molds. What I'm doing now though is melting down just a little bit more of the clear melt and pour soap base, and I'm going to go ahead and add some of that glow to it, and we're going to make some stars, and I'm going to put them in a different mold and just kind of set those aside and then cut those up later. I do also want to add that while I was doing this, I took the leftover melt and pour soap, the white with the glow in it, and I went ahead and remelted that down a little bit and then tried to put it in the square mold as well. So that way when I was cutting these up, I would have a variety of color stars because I didn't know how well the clear melt and pour would work with the glow. I wanted to be able to see this like when I cut the soap and when people use it. I thought it would be, you know, better to get the show right. I didn't know if it would work in the white melt and pour. So again, everything we're doing in the video today is a test. I haven't even seen the end results yet, so we'll see what happens here in just a few minutes. But again, basically I just chopped these down into tiny pieces, and I do want to say after the soap was heated up, poured into the mold, and then when you cut it, it wasn't as like crusty and chunky to cut down, but it still wasn't as like soft as some other soap that I use. So maybe if you're looking for a harder soap base, this also might be a good melt and pour base for you. And I really just kept chopping these until they were as tiny as I could get them and mixed them in with the clear, so that way I had a good variety of the chunks, and you can kind of see a little bit of the glow with the white. So I was getting pretty excited about that. By the time I was done cutting all those and setting all that up, it was about time to take this out of the mold, which it came out of the mold very nicely. You cannot see the blue Enigma very well in this, so I wasn't really trying to hold on to that, and you can kind of see the swirl a little bit. I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but you can see it a little bit in person. And then I'll show you what it looked like when it was glowing in the dark, because I was trying to decide where do I want to cut the soap down to actually, you know, use it for the soap. So I took it into the closet to see what it actually looks like when it glows. So please ignore my soap mess, but as you can tell, the camera has a hard time picking up the glow, but it was pretty bright for only leaving it in the sun for about a minute to kind of get the color to show up. So I'm getting more and more excited as this project goes on. So I kind of figured out what I thought would be the best placement, and then I took it over to my mold and I just kind of made some little marks in it so I can cut the soap to the size of the mold. Again, my original idea didn't work, but this also worked just fine, so I'm not too disappointed with that. So I ended up using Star Showers instead of the one I showed in the beginning. I really like this. It is more of a unisex blend for soap, and I thought it would be a little bit better. It has some floral notes. It smells a little patchouli, citrusy, orange, lime, and musky smell. It says on their website to compare it to Supernova from Lush. I have no idea what that smells like, but definitely a good fragrance oil. Like I said, for unisex, I like it a lot. So like I was showing again, the melt and pour, the clear one, was already starting to get skins on it by just taking it out of the microwave, even though it was kind of almost boiling, before I can melt or mix in the mica. So I just took about a spoonful of each color, and then I also added in some glitter to each one of these to kind of give it another dimension. And I also kept my soap mold at a slant for pouring, because I thought that would blend the layering in a little bit better, so it wouldn't be so obvious where the layers are. Again, we'll see how it turns out at the end, but I just thought that would help kind of hide the layering as we go. So I also had to score the moon quite a bit, and just in the time that I was scoring this, that melt and pour soap that I did pour in the base of the soap mold kind of at a slant was already starting to get like a slight skin to it, which was definitely a good thing for this type of design, because then I don't have to spend a lot of time waiting around for the soap to set up, and I just kind of went along and, you know, peeled off any scraps from either the container or the soap mold, and then also just kind of set them there. And then when that did set up enough for me to put that in there, which I decided to weigh a little bit more, put a little bit more soap because it was too low. I didn't want it on the bottom of the soap, so I just kind of layered it up a little bit, let it harden, and like I'm saying, it only took, I would say, like 5 minutes in between each of these. Again, it's a little bit cool in my house, but it's hardening up quick, and I think it's perfect for this. I did kind of also push down the soap with my finger because it was still pretty squishy, and I thought that would help, you know, keep it standing up. I just kept kind of, like I said, kept scoring and then pouring. Lots of fun. My new favorite saying, scoring and then pouring. But if you guys do like this video and you are learning something, or you have questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. I always appreciate your support. You guys have been helping my channel grow. I've been doing both melt and pour, and a lot of cold process soap recipes as well. You guys seem to like the melt and pour stuff a little bit better, so I try to do more of that. But for me, most melt and pour is kind of an experiment, because I started out doing cold process soap, and I've been doing that since about 2012, and the melt and pour is kind of newer to me. So but it's a lot of fun, so I'm enjoying myself. Let me know what you guys started off with. What type of soaper are you? Do you do just melt and pour, or what's your favorite type of soaping? Again, I love hearing from you guys, and I love your support. Once I got done with all the layering and adding the stars and everything, I went ahead and let this sit aside for about 4 hours because I wanted to make sure everything was really hard before I cut it, and I was just hoping that it wouldn't fall apart when I actually did get time to cut it. So this is just a close-up shot of the colors. I like the sort of galaxy swirl with the blue and purple. This purple is probably one of my favorite purples that I've ever found in micas. Alright guys, so the soap has been sitting in the mold for a little over 3 hours, and I'm going to go ahead and pop it out of the mold. If you use this mold, I know a lot of soap makers wonder how to get it out. You really have to crack the seal of the soap, and you can see how it's making like that air pocket on all 4 sides of the soap mold, and it actually becomes a lot easier to come out. I know a couple other people have had a hard time, like I said, or ruined their soap, so that's just a little quick tip for you if you wanted to know how to get it out a little bit easier. So as you can see, I popped it out. I was super stoked about the slant that I poured it on because it gave it a dreamy look just like I wanted. Kind of reminds me of like a painting or something where the sky is just all very, you know, zigzagged and whatnot. So when I cut through and cut it open, I was even more impressed. I also will say that this soap was a little bit hard to cut through. But see, look how that turned out. I just love it. I wish the star chunks were a little bit tinier, but overall it looks very cute. But like I was saying before, is when you're cutting through it, it does get kind of hard, but it didn't crumble. Sometimes when you do layers too, it's best to cut on the side, so that's a little tip too if you don't know what to do. But I like how the layers even show up in this, even though there's blue and purple and they kind of swirl together, but you can see like distinct layers. I think it just gives it an extra like level of design and looks cute. I'm going to show you guys also the pictures and stuff of it glowing in the dark. I let it charge up for only about a minute, and I will say that you were able to see the glowing on both the clear melt and pour pieces as well as the white melt and pour pieces. So I would say you really could use this in any type of soap that you want, and it'll come out you know, glowing. So I'm impressed with this. I really like this product. Again, if you like this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. If you want to buy the products, there's a link down in the description. And enjoy, and I hope you guys liked the video this week.